For the end of Sci-Fi week, let's do the most important science fiction author in my life, Robert Heinlein. And there will be one with an AI twist here and some free love stuff as well. I'll do them in the order that they came to me. And so I started with his juvenile fiction, of course. And I believe the first one I ever read was Tunnel in the Sky. So if you had a teen who was into adventure type stuff in a sci-fi universe, start them with Tunnel in the Sky. If they're in the Heinlein, they'll love that one and they'll read all the rest like I did. And the cool part is, for being a man of his time, he has a couple that are centered around female leads. And I do know people always want to hit him with the sexism charge, but I could do a whole video defending Robert Heinlein as someone who is trying his best. They said that he wrote flat female characters. He wrote almost all flat characters, except for the Jubal Harshaw types that were really him. All the characters were flat. He was trying his best, and he, I think, adored women and treated them really well. That brings us to the free love book. If you don't know Stranger in a Strange Land, it's amazing. It's one of the few science fiction books to break out of science fiction into the mainstream. The hippies loved this book. This was a Bible in certain circles. And people even took up the mystical Martian tradition of Water Brother and Hood. And some communes are formed around the concepts in this book. And the short of it is that a human gets babies born on Mars and all by themselves. And they come back to Earth and they have Martian habits but a human body. And they are almost messianic in what they can do. And they also preach against ownership and for free love. And for me personally, it was the first talk I'd ever heard of polyamory and free love. And for me, it was just a light bulb going off in my head. It's like, that's how life should be. It was the first voicing of that concept that was just naturally how I was and I'd never heard before. And so for me, and I think of a lot of other young poly open love kind of kids, it just changed everything knowing that was there. And also it's just a great book. It's really fascinating to see how much it did and how important it was and how much it still gets referenced. And finally, this last one might actually be my favorite. The Moon is a Harsh Mistress, because it's a tale of revolution aided by an AI, and I always wanted to be in this world, more than almost any fantasy world I ever lived in, because the lunar colony is getting treated like the colony of the United States was by Britain, heavy-handed and getting authoritarian about taking them for all their resources and not giving them a say. And so there is a revolutionary cabal forms just at the same time that this computer manic named Manny, who's in a big extended clan kind of family, is working with this computer that kind of runs everything. Everything's been hooked onto it. And it starts talking to him just a little bit and then making little jokes. And he helps his computer come to life. And it turns into this genius child that helps them in the revolution, mostly because Manny's his buddy. And it's this idea of having this incredibly intelligent force right here who knows you and is always ready to help. And soon we're all gonna have that. And all the questions you want to get quick answer and intelligence to, you can go solve. And so this book has shaped me so much, because I always saw this AI revolution coming and have been dreaming about how I was going to implement it. And now it's here. And I'm a little bit frozen, how am I going to implement it? I've been thinking about it all this time. This is one of the best books you can read thinking about how AI is going to change things. So, Robert Heinlein, and if you want to do the deep dive, read Tramp Royale, which is a story of him going with his wife on a tour around the world on a big ferry ship, back when that was a really adventuresome thing to do. And you can kind of see the free love stuff poking around the corners, so he's too much of a gentleman to say it. But yeah, I think Robert Heinlein was as feminist as he could get for being a man of the Cold War.